Joker Productions, MSI GTX 780 SLI review, take one. Yo, what's up, Salon? It's Joker here. Finally getting my 780 SLI review out to you guys. I know you've been waiting for it for quite some time. I've had these cards for almost 2 months now, but you know, because of the holidays, and then I had some issues with a corrupt DirectX install when I was trying to reinstall Dishonored. I got some kind of corrupt files in there, and it wound up giving me a whole bunch of driver issues where every time I would sign into Windows, my computer would just black screen on me. But I finally got that fixed, and then I got that video guys out to you on video out to you guys on Friday, giving you a little bit of behind-the-scenes look on how I benchmark and things like that. But today I'm finally getting to you the review for the MSI GTX 780 TwinFrozr OC Gaming Editions in SLI. You know what I'm saying? Not just one, but two 780s rocking out in this motherfucker. Going to be showing you the benchmark scores. Going to be talking about the temperatures, noise, overclocking, all that good stuff. So stay tuned and let's get this motherfucker started. So let's get the obvious out of the way. Are 780s in SLI awesome? Yes, they're fucking amazing. Now, 780s in SLI, not for everyone. Obviously, it's pricey. You're looking at about $520 a card, so that's over $1,000 in just graphics cards. That's like 3 Xbox Ones or something, or two PlayStation 4s. I don't know how much those things cost, but I mean, yeah, when you're talking about pricing for graphics cards, that's a lot of money to spend on graphics cards. And why would I spend that much money on GPUs, especially when I'm only gaming on a single 1920 by 1080 screen? And the answer is 144 hertz. That is it. So many people have come to me, they've said, oh, it's overkill. You're getting two 780s for 1080p. It's pointless. You should be playing at 4K or 2560 by 1440 or 2560 by 1600. It's like, why would I want to play at that at 60 hertz? Once you've gone to the promised land of 120 hertz, 44 hertz, and you've been there, there is no going back, folks. Once your eyes start to get used to that type of frame rate, it's looking at 60 frames per second is like a slideshow. Now, if you've only ever played 60 hertz on 60 hertz monitor, consider yourself lucky, because if you've actually seen 144 hertz and games running at that frame rate on Ultra, you would never want to play anything else ever, because that would be emblazed into your mind as to how games are supposed to actually look. So if you haven't seen 120 or 144 hertz, sort of consider yourself lucky in some respect, because you'll be happy at 60 hertz. Because when I used to play at 60 hertz, I thought it was silky smooth. So if you like 60 hertz, and you know that's what you're playing on now, that's great. You know, we're all playing the same games at the end of the day, and we're both going to enjoy them equally. I might enjoy them a little bit more, but you know, for the most part, we're pretty much still getting the same experience. And if you're playing on a 1080p 60 hertz display, my advice is to get one 780. 780 is definitely better than the 770 by quite a bit. The 770 is sort of just able to hang in there and run most games maxed out at 60 FPS. A 780 kind of puts you above that and sort of guarantees that you can play every game out right now at 60 FPS, and probably for the foreseeable future, maybe the next 1 to 2 years, you should be able to run most games at pretty decent settings and getting 60 FPS. So, but the 780s, you know, is definitely just more future-proofing. If you've got the money and you just want to go on the complete overkill build, go for two 780s. You know, you got Witcher 3 coming out. That game just looks amazing. Just it's one of the best-looking games I've ever seen. Also, a little-known game that's up on Kickstarter right now called Kingdom Come Deliverance. That looks like it's going to require a hell of a machine to run maxed out and getting 60 FPS or higher. But for the foreseeable future, I feel pretty comfortable with the 780s, at least until the Maxwell chips come out. I want to see the numbers on those, see what kind of numbers those are putting up. And if it's a significant upgrade, I might just go ahead and sell these and then get the Maxwells. And also in the future, I've got my eye on upgrading to a 2011 socket CPU. I haven't decided which one yet. With a nice motherboard, either MSI or Gigabyte. I doubt I'll go Asus. They're a little overpriced for what they offer. Alright, so before we go ahead and jump into the benchmarks that I've ran on quite a quite a number of games. I wanted to talk a little bit first about temperatures. Obviously, with SLI, your heat's going to go up a little bit. I would say under like max load situations, like Heaven benchmark, for example, will stress both cards to about 98% usage. I would see my top card anywhere around 65 to 70 degrees, with the bottom card being between 55 and 60 degrees. Now you're always going to see that variation, obviously, because the bottom card is getting a lot more air than the top card, because it's it's sandwiched right next to the other one, so there's not enough room for it to pull in a lot of air, and it's also sucking in the hot air from the bottom from the card below, because the chip is right on the back, right there by the PCB. So the top card's always going to be a little bit hotter. But 65 to 70 degrees for SLI it's perfectly fine. I mean, looking back at like just a few years ago, back with the 500 series cards, if you were running SLI, it was kind of a common thing to be running at almost 90 degrees, which nowadays if my GPUs were running at 90 degrees, I would think they were about to explode. I would probably turn off the PC really quick if that were to happen. So 70 degrees is nothing. That's a walk in the park, and most games don't really get to that. Most of the games when I'm running maxed out Ultra, they're only using about 60% of each GPU. Like Batman Arkham Origins would be an example. That's using about 50 to 60% of each GPU when I'm running it all maxed out. Once again, getting over 100 FPS. Recently, I actually went ahead and I did some overclocking. I noticed very little variations as far as temperatures. Just a few benchmark scores that I wanted to point out here that were pretty significant, considering I did a fairly modest overclock. I was able to get my core clock up by plus 150. So I went from 902 up to 1052. And then the memory clock, I was able to push that by about 250. In benchmarks, I was able to get it to plus 300, but I was getting some crashing in game on Battlefield 4, so I lowered it down to 250, and that seems pretty stable for right now. And with that overclock right there, I was able to take the Firestrike, the Extreme Firestrike from 3D Mark people. That went from 7621 all the way up to 8458, so almost 1,000-point increase on just that overclock alone. So these cards can definitely overclock and still stay running pretty cool. And I'm sure if I was to overvolt these or go ahead and revert it to like an LN2 BIOS that's completely unlocked as far as the power limitations, I'm sure you could push these cards well beyond what I've put them at. This is a modest overclock at best. Okay, on Heaven benchmark, I was able to go I was around 102 to 111. That's a very, elite class. People that are getting over 110 FPS in Heaven benchmark, there's not many people that are actually doing that. Valley, another one from Unigine, I was able to go from 101 to 110. If you haven't checked out the Unigine benchmarks, I highly suggest you look at those. They've got Heaven 4.0, they've got Valley and Sanctuary. All three of those are probably my favorite benchmarks, with Heaven being the best one, I think. I think that's the best one for SLI, and it's great to just run it in windowed mode while you're sitting there and tweaking up your core clock, in small increments of like 5, 10, 10, 10, until eventually you'll just get a render crash, and then you can start it up again and go back to whatever was the most recent stable one. So Heaven is a great benchmark. Not only for just testing out your system's overall performance, but also a great tool when you're trying to overclock. And like I said before, temperature-wise, even with the overclock, I was getting 65 to 70 range for the top card, 55 to 60 for the bottom card. And Battlefield 4 typically running anywhere from 140 to 150 FPS most of the time. Now with this overclock. And I actually wanted to just do a quick demo and show you guys how it actually looks when I'm running it. So let's take a look at this here. So what I wanted to do here is just kind of give you guys a real-time experience of how Battlefield 4 runs on two 780s. Because I could show you graphs and spit out numbers all day, but unless you're seeing it in real action on ultra graphics, like look how amazing this is. Are you kidding me? Like look at that water. That is the most amazing looking water I've ever seen in a game. It looks absolutely incredible. And I put the frame rate counter down in the bottom right, so it should be a little bit easier for you guys to see. Right now I'm running around at 160, 170 FPS, which is just completely ridiculous. And this is on an almost full server. This is a 48 player server. 48 player domination, CMW gaming number 3, and it just runs silky smooth. Being that it's on a 144 hertz monitor, I can't even explain to you how smooth this actually feels live and in person, and I wish that more people could actually experience it, because I've had a lot of people say to me, you know, oh, you're such an idiot, you're getting two 780s and you're only playing at 1080p. It's like, yeah, but I'm trying to power 144 hertz. I want to play at 144 FPS. And thankfully with two 780s, I'm able to do that. And I can even go over 144, obviously, as you can see. And thanks to the G-Sync that I'm using right now on my monitor, that's not an issue at all for me. So, I mean, I'm going to be doing a video about that in the future. But yeah, G-Sync is just makes this game absolutely. So yeah, as you can see there, pretty impressive how smooth Battlefield is running. It's one of my favorite games to play, not only because of the gameplay and you know, just how much fun the game is, but it's just so well optimized and it looks gorgeous all at the same time. It just looks beautiful. It runs super smooth. It's like one of the best games. It is one of the best games out there. You know, despite all the bugs and all those issues and everything out there, despite all that, it is still one of the best goddamn games out there, because DICE knows how to make a game, and they know how to make a game run well on the PC. It supports SLI great. It scales very well. You'll see probably an 80 to a 90% increase in performance with SLI on Battlefield 4. So I can't say enough good things about that game. I fucking love it. And if you ever want to play with me, I play with CMW Gaming. You can always find me on their TeamSpeak or on their servers. So you can always find me on there. If you ever want to come play with me, you know, I'm definitely not hard to find. I'm not like Level Cap where I'm impossible to get a hold of. You know, you can definitely come join our TeamSpeak and come play with me. But now let's go ahead and take a look at the benchmark numbers. Let you guys see. On here, you're going to be seeing a lot of numbers. You're going to see you're going to see 770, single 780, 770 Lightnings in SLI, the 780s in SLI, and then the 780s in SLI with my overclock. So you're going to be seeing 5 sets of numbers here on these benchmarks. A lot of information, but hopefully that'll give you a good idea of, if you're shopping around for a GPU, where you want to go. Do you want to go single 770 or two 770, single 780 or two 780s? Hopefully these numbers here will give you an idea of what you'll need to suit your needs as a gamer, and what kind of hardware you want to go with in your upcoming build or your upcoming upgrade, either way. So let's go ahead and take a look at those fucking rockin' benchmarks. Alright, so as you can see there, definitely some very impressive numbers from the 780s and SLI. You know, any of those cards in the video, in the benchmarks there, everything from a single 770 all the way up to the 780s and SLI. I mean, you couldn't go wrong with any of those setups. It really just depends on how much money you want to put into it and what you want to get out of it at the end of the day. Because, you know, that's the great thing about PC gaming is that, you know, the sky is the limit. You can put as much or as little into it as you want to, and you know, maybe you could be happy either way. A lot of people will have a single 770 and they'll be super happy. I'm happy with my two 780s, but I could be even happier if I had two 780 Ti's. I'm not going to go out and upgrade to those because it would just be absolutely ridiculous to spend the money to upgrade to 780 Ti's for just an extra like 10 FPS or so. But I will wait for the Maxwell series and see what kind of numbers those put up, and if it's a pretty big jump, I might go ahead and grab those. But thanks again for watching my 780 SLI review. Really do appreciate you guys sticking with me through the new year, and hope you enjoyed the video. And for my next hardware review, I'm either going to be doing a review of G-Sync, which I've got my monitor right now, absolutely amazing, or I might be doing a review of my new headset. That's the Turtle Beach Z300s. It's a really awesome headset. I've always been a fan of Turtle Beach, and I was glad when they finally came out with really their first dedicated wireless PC gaming headset that's also 7.1 surround. There's really only maybe like a small handful of manufacturers that are making wireless 7.1 surround headsets, and I just happen to be very picky about the headsets that I wear because of how they feel and everything, and I've always liked Turtle Beach, so I'm glad they finally came out with a PC headset. So, let me know in the comments below, what do you want to see next? You want to see G-Sync? Do you want to see the headset review? What's more important to you? I have a feeling it's going to be G-Sync, but, just let me know down in the comments below, and whichever one gets the most votes, I'll do that one first. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Hit the like button because it helps me out a ton. You can also follow me on Facebook and Twitter if you want more updates at Joker Slunt. I'll catch y'all next time. Ta fucking rah!